the finales.
Like to welcome each one here to our meeting tonight, July 21st. And I'd like to begin by acknowledging the land on which we gather as traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Ottawa, and Mississauga peoples. And I'd like to also bring forward the regrets from Councillor Palmer. Confirmation of the agenda that the Council Township of North Huron hereby approves the agenda for July 21, 2025 council meeting as presented. May I have a mover? Deputy Reeve, Councillor Van Hitterson, all in favor? Carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof. Seeing none. Consent agenda that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby adopts consent items 4.1.1 and further that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby receives consent items 4.1.2 to 4.3.1 for information purposes. Before we ask for anybody to pull anything out, I just ask for a mover. Councillor Whitfield, Councillor McBurney, would anybody like to pull anything from the consent agenda? Go ahead, Councillor Van Hitterson, please.
Thank you, Reeve. I would like to receive a little bit more information regarding the feasibility study on local accommodation capacity and future needs in North Huron, a little bit about why it's necessary to have this study done, and a little bit more about what the expectation, then we didn't have to do it, but how it's all, we hope it will work out for the community.
Okay, at this time, I'll just turn that over to our CAO. Nelson, please.
Thank you, Reeve Heffer, and to council members. The intention of the accommodation capacity and feasibility study is to really put a sort of stronger mapping of what we have to offer in the township. So it's really going to start to track, all of our events from festivals, sports engagement tournaments, obviously the Blythe Theatre Festival and their season, all of those types of events that draw people as part of tourism or attraction to the community. We've been hearing over the past, since last season even, the interest and concern about having an opportunity for additional accommodations overnight within the township because of the activity happening. By doing this feasibility study, it'll research the data that's happening between all of these events occurring within the township, but also in our surrounding communities, and trying to tie into the needs for accommodations. Is there a lack of accommodation? Is there a perceived lack of accommodation? Is an opportunity to provide a new investment within the region that would draw, whether it's a hotel or other overnight accommodations to our community. The data that's collected will be part of the the structure and the cause for the potential business case for a new investment in that area for accommodations. Additionally, the data that we receive will serve very purposefully for our township in terms of data. We'll have a better awareness of our upcoming events and current events. We'll have a greater awareness of what accommodations we currently have, whether there's identified shortfalls or how many overnight stays we're currently lacking. The due data will give us an opportunity to put that information to the public as well. So, for example, if we wanted to update our website to talk about where to stay in the township, right now, everything that we have listed on the website goes through the one channel, but it's basically just the business profiles. We can actually just target it to specifically be about accommodations and who to reach out to, what's available, and how to connect with them. So that'll be part of a tool that we would add as, again, an added feature to the information we receive. That's again. There's a few others, but I think that kind of covers the grasp of what we're trying to bring in.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to pull anything? Go ahead, Councillor Wright, please.
Yes, thanks, through your Reeve. So a comment then a question on the same item. So it was a barrier when I was involved with the Alice Munro Festival. It was actually a barrier they had about organizing and holding a lot of the events in Wingham, was the lack of accommodations, not only for people that attended, but also for guest authors. So that's just for information that it can be a problem with people trying to organize festivals, the lack of accommodations. But just to clarify, I think you said it, we're also going to look at accommodations in our neighboring municipalities as well, because obviously if you want to organize something in Wingham or Blythe, there's close by municipalities that may have accommodations as well.
Yeah, that's correct. To council, the intention is to have an understanding of what are the actual needs within the region. And again, we will be looking at our partners at that county, ECDEV, as well as our neighboring communities in terms of identifying what their activities are. So again, it'll give us, I think, a good snapshot as to the needs overall for the region, and again, provide data for a potential private investor to look at. Oh, there's a good business case already evolved. Now let's find location and where would that would locate to. So our target is looking within our township, so between Blythe to Wingham, so anywhere where the servicing would be available to provide that type of new build within our township.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to pull anything? Seeing none, I just want to talk on 4.2.2, the deaccessioning there. I noticed that just about 2,000 items have been paid for, gone, and there's about 3,390 left. Does everything line up in the timeline that you're hoping for with that CAO?
Well, I know my representatives here, Denise, if you'd like to kind of speak to the timeline.
Yep.
Mhm.
I'm just trying to get used to glasses, so sometimes I need them, sometimes I don't. So yeah, that's why we put the table together, was to give out all the numbers of where we're at. Right now, the deaccessioning assistant is actually working on making sure that all photos and all descriptions of all of the items are finished. But the thing is we can't put out thousands of items at one point, because they do have a timeline through GovDeals. So when you actually place them on GovDeals, you can have them up for auction for a set amount of time, and then they're able to pay for them during a certain amount of time, and then they have so much time to pick them up. So that is going to be a process that is going to be not full time. And the deaccessioning assistant understands that and is working with that, and will make sure that she is available to help for the whole project to be finished. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Yes, thank you. That explains it well, because in your report you had where it's working well with the assistant there. So that's good news. Thank you very much. So at this time, I'll turn it over to the mover seconder. All in favor? Carried. At this time, we're going to number 5, and I'd like to turn over to Councillor Van Hitterson, our delegation at this time, please.
Thank you, Reeve. Good evening, everybody. And tonight, Mr. Phil Beard from the Maitland Valley Conservation Authority is with us for a presentation. We are appearing before council this evening to provide some additional background information regarding the renewal of the Memorandum of Understanding between MVCA and its member municipalities. This MOU must be renewed by June 2026. We're starting the process of renewing the MOU by visiting all our member municipalities over the next 6 months. In your council packets, we have included a letter from MVCA's chair Ed McCugan, outlining our request for council to consider renewing the MOU for services and programs for another 4 years. We've also included the draft MOU for council to provide feedback on the MOU, and it's the same actually as the existing agreement. The only change made is the word levy to cost apportionment. The province has changed the word levy to cost apportionment in the Conservation Authorities Act. We've also attached the list of services and programs that Maitland Valley Conservation Authority will be continuing for the next 4 years. There are no changes to the programs and services from the last agreement. MVCA will not change any services and programs without consulting with our member municipalities. Phil will review the services and programs that MVCA plans to continue with, and he will outline which services are mandatory and which ones are non-mandatory. So I would like to hand it over to Phil and wish him the best.
Thank you, Reeve Heffer and members of council, and Councillor Van Hiddesen for the introductory remarks. I'm just going to start with some background information. For Maitland Valley's area of jurisdiction, we cover a lot of different watersheds and sub-watersheds, and we go from almost Arthur in the east to Goderich in the west. So it's a very large watershed, 808,000 acres for the farmers in the crowd, or 3,270 square kilometers. And again, we are fortunate to live in this part of Ontario. We live in an area that has some of the best natural areas in southwestern Ontario. We have some of the most productive farmland in Ontario. The Maitland River is one of the best smallmouth bass fishing rivers in southern Ontario. We have some of the best hardwood forests in Ontario. And of course, we have Lake Huron, which is known for its sunsets, beaches, and clean water. So Maitland Valley's mission is providing leadership to protect and enhance water, forests, and soils. And our vision is that we're working for a healthy watershed. And our ends are to protect life, property, and prevent social disruption from flooding and erosion hazards, to protect water and related resources for present and future generations, and to protect and expand natural areas. So now I'll move into some of our service areas. So one of our key services is our watershed health monitoring and assessment service. We monitor to understand the health of forests and the river systems in the watershed. This work helps us to focus our limited resources where they can be most effective. And our watershed stewardship service is focused on providing support to landowners to help them improve the health of forests, streams, and soil on their lands. We're there as a technical resource to help them develop a plan for improving the health of these resources. We meet with the landowner, help them plan their project, apply for funding, and coordinate their project with contractors. And the cost apportionment that we get from municipalities for this service provides us with a base amount of stable funding. Without this base funding, we wouldn't be able to provide stewardship programs. So our stewardship program and our watershed health assessment programs are considered non-mandatory by the province. In other words, they're a voluntary program. So the baseline funding provides us to leverage other funding sources to do work in the watershed. It helps us to keep experienced staff that landowners can trust, and it helps us maintain a good long-term working relationship with landowners, community groups, and funding partners. And because we're a small organization, the staff who work in stewardship also have to help out in other service areas like conservation areas and flood safety, which are mandatory services. We also deliver two programs through agreement. The Huron Clean Water Project, we deliver on behalf of the County of Huron. Staff from Maitland Valley and the Asaba Bayfield Authority assist landowners and community groups with applications. We present the projects to a review committee. We inspect all the completed projects, and we issue payment for the cost share portion of the program. Moving on to our mandatory programs, Maitland Valley has 28 conservation areas. We have 4,600 acres of conservation lands to look after, consisting of forests, floodplains, wetlands, and river valleys. And many of them are used for passive recreation. And over the past 4 years, their use has increased considerably. And we have 3 staff to look after all of these conservation areas, except at the Falls Reserve conservation area, where we have 2 full-time people. And the 3 conservation area staff are also responsible for looking after all our buildings and equipment. Maitland Valley operates 2 campgrounds. We have one at the Falls Reserve in Ben Miller, and the other is at the Wawanosh Park Conservation Area in East Wawanosh. Both these campgrounds must fund their operations and all their infrastructure with the user fees that they raise. So there's no cost apportionment dollars that go into the operation of any of our campgrounds. Moving on to natural hazard services. These programs deal with flooding, erosion, and drought. They include flood monitoring and emergency response, providing natural hazard planning support to municipalities, helping municipalities keep their floodplain mapping up to date, and reviewing development proposals in floodplains, river valleys, wetlands, and along the Lake Huron shoreline. We've had to change our monitoring system over the years to focus more on rainfall events than spring melt. We have over $500,000 worth of monitoring equipment in the field, and this system must be monitored 7 days a week, all year round for potential rainfall or snowmelt events that may cause flooding. And just a couple of the projects we're working on, we're doing the floodplain mapping update in Wingham at the former House and Dam site, which will result in a reduction in the floodplain area in that location. And we're also working with the 3 shoreline municipalities, ACW, Central Huron, and Goderich, to restore the flow of sand south of the harbor at Goderich, so that this sand will build beaches along the shoreline south of Goderich. We're also working with these 3 municipalities to develop a plan for locating future and existing development where they will be safe from shoreline erosion. And last but not least, we have our Drinking Water Source Protection Service. It's a mandatory program focused on helping municipalities safeguard the area around their wellheads and intake protection zones. This program is currently funded 100% by the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks. So I'll now turn the presentation back to Councillor Van Hittersum to provide some closing remarks, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Mainland Conservation is asking each of our member municipalities if they would be willing to renew the MOU agreement that will enable us to continue to provide all the services outlined in Schedule A for the next 4 years. The draft MOU is very short and straightforward, as MVCA has only 2 non-mandatory services, watershed stewardship and watershed health assessment services. MVCA will provide the services outlined in Schedule A. Member municipalities agree to pay a cost apportionment for those services. MVCA will not add or delete any services funded through the municipal cost apportionment without consulting with member municipalities. Any changes would require an amendment to the MOU. MVCA will maintain the current annual approval process for the cost apportionment and budget. MVCA will continue to circulate the draft budget and cost apportionment for Council's consideration and direction. The updated MOU will be for 4 years, after which it will need to be renewed. We would appreciate your support and would be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you for the opportunity to discuss this matter with Council, and I think I can extend a big thank you from all of Council to Mr. Beard for his presentation and his commitment and passion for the MVCA, but also for his engagement with many projects in our community. Thank you. And if you have any questions.
Thank you. At this time, we'll take questions from the floor, please, or from the members, please. Anybody, go ahead, Deputy Reeve, please.
Well, thank you, through you, Reeve. Just some clarification on the water and flood monitoring. That's paid by the province, is it not? Are they not paying through?
The province provides $36,024 towards that program, which is $300,000 or $400,000.
If I may go through it, the watershed stewardship program, that's paid through by the landowners if they use the program.
They do pay a fee to buy trees, and for most of the projects, they can get a 50% grant. But the staffing support is paid for through the cost apportionment from the municipality.
The camping that Maitland Valley provides, all that money's kept in-house, like the municipality gets nothing, no revenue through that stream back to the municipality.
No, it's owned by the Conservation Authority, so the money, everything goes back into the infrastructure in those campgrounds and the operation of them.
I'm just trying to get a grasp of the, what programs directly come or paid for by North Huron that North Huron uses just to weigh the checks and balances of what, what we're getting for versus what we're paying through it. Because I believe if I'm not sure, we did a LiDAR study mapping. I think that was paid for by the municipality. The last time we did it, I'm just curious. The Maitland Valley gets to use that LiDAR data.
Yeah, that was part of the floodplain mapping update project, which you got a 50% grant on from the province through the feds. But yeah, the province is now going to fly new photography and keep that LiDAR updated at 100%. They'll pay for that cost going forward. But yeah, if you're interested in seeing some of the programs that we do that affect North Huron, I'd be happy to take you on a tour and show you what we're doing in North Huron and around the watershed, because there's a lot that is going on. And I know you guys have a lot on your plates to keep up with. So no, I'd be happy to take you on a tour and show you some of the things that we're doing, because this is one of the cornerstones of the watershed, because there's 3 branches of the river meet here, Morris Turnberry and North Huron. And there is a major floodplain area where those rivers meet. And you have the Wingham Special Policy Area down there, the Ecological Park, the Turnberry Conservation Area where the soccer fields are located, Wawanosh Conservation Area, the Scott Municipal Drain, Blythe Greenway. There's a lot of things that we've done together with North Huron over the years, and lots of things that we're still doing. So you can't really, it's just sort of like your taxes. You can't say, well, we're spending this much at 649 Josephine Street and we're spending this much at 33 Scott Street. But it's for the betterment of the whole watershed, just like the taxes here for the betterment of the whole of North Huron.
And just one more topic there. I was quite surprised that when we were going through the dam deaccessioning, that there was absolutely, it wasn't considered any floodplain control, so there was no help from the Maitland Valley through any of that process of reestablishing the riverbank. I was just wondering when, I was just wondering if there's any programs in the works to help our riverbank.
Yeah, we did work with North Huron to develop a planting plan along the top of the riverbank now that the dam is gone, and our staff will be doing live staking there at the base of those stones in the fall. We were involved in the process when you were looking at the dam. We did identify that structure was putting up to $5 million worth of assessment at increased risk of flooding because it was there. So we have been involved in the background all the way through that. So we didn't have any funding streams that we could think of that would help you with that, but we certainly were there working with the municipality on that project and helping with the rehabilitation. So.
Are there any other questions? Or go ahead, Councillor Wright, please.
Yes, thanks. Through you, Reeve. Sorry if I have to cough here. Just a question on the conservation areas. Certainly they are used by a lot of people I know for hiking and nature centers. A little bit of a jewel, I think, out there. A lot of people spend time out there. But I don't really see any strong language in the MOU with regards to maintaining like the trail system that we have in conservation areas. And I believe there was an issue several years ago at a nature center where there was a loss of winter use because the parking lot wasn't cleared of snow. So understand we're just kind of, I think, reusing the same MOU, but I mean, is it the intent to, maintain the current trail system we have at Nature Center and other conservation areas? And, is there intent to make that, accessible or those have access to those conservation areas 12 months a year?
Yes, that, we don't include that detail in the schedule of services or the MOU. But yeah, we do maintain that parking lot in the winter. We've put new boardwalks out at Wawanosh. We're raising money right now for a new outdoor pavilion. So yeah, that we're certainly maintaining all our properties to the ability of the resources that we have. And the ones that get the most use, of course, will get the most attention. So Falls Reserve, Naftos Creek, Wawanosh Valley, those are the three cornerstones of the ones that get the most use in the watershed. So certainly, we're doing all we can there in conjunction with our foundation, which raises money for infrastructure. So they're raising the money for the outdoor pavilion. They raised the money for all the wood for the boardwalks. Our staff built the boardwalks. So that's the way we have to go at things, is do what we can with the resources we have. But certainly intent at Wawanosh is to keep that parking lot clear. I can remember being out there one winter when I had to push a few cars out that were stuck. And certainly we inspect all the trails after major storms to look for hazard trees, because that area is so heavily used. So we just can't include that amount of detail in the schedule of services.
Thank you. Any other questions from any council member? Seeing none, I just thank you for the work that goes on there. I just want to go to page 3 of your letters there, and it says improve health, resiliency, and demonstrate good resource management in conservation areas. And I believe you hit on that. You're going to be planting stuff down along just to the east of the dam, the old dam there in the thing. So I guess that's some of the work that goes on too that maybe we don't realize is happening and things like that, I take it.
Yeah, there's a planting plan to do work at the base there that actually the funding was approved through the Vance Fund for the plant materials, and then our staff will actually do the work. So
yeah, thanks. Okay, thank you. Again, thank you, Phil, for doing the work that you do at the Maitland Valley, and for Councillor Van Henderson for sitting on the board. And I just want to make comment of the photographs that you have there. I know we're working on some work up here, and these pictures came up and they thought they're really good, so you could pass that on to your photographer there. Really good pictures. Right in our own backyard. We like that.
yeah, and I'll just put out the offer again. If you have a lot of new staff now, that if there's anybody wants to go on a tour and see some of the work that's happening in North Huron and the conservation areas, I'd be happy to do that.
Okay, thank you very much. This time, I'm just going to read the motion, and then I'll ask for a mover and a seconder that the Council of Township of North Huron hereby approves the signing of a new memorandum of understanding with Maitland Valley Conservation Authority and supports the proposed services and programs to be provided for the next 4 years as presented at the July 21st, 2025 council meeting. May I have a mover? Councillor Van Henderson, Councillor McBurney, all in favor? Carried. Okay, staff reports. 6.1.1 CL 2025-12 Community Safety and Wellbeing CSWB Plan for Huron Review Report. Are there any questions for Director Lamb at this time? Okay, sorry, go ahead, Councillor Van Henderson,
Yes.
please.
Sorry. The Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan is being pushed upon us by the provincial government. I was wondering how much support does the government give us to to bring those things in action. Like the residents want to see more police on the floor. People want a safer community. They want more resources, and it's a pressure on all the municipalities. Is there any money coming from the province or from the federal government to help us with what the residents want and what is being presented in this review?
Through your worship, to answer Councillor Van Henderson's question, currently in regard to the actual implementation of the plan, not currently, there's no funding tied to it that's flowing directly to the municipalities. There is, of course, the funding the province provides for, I guess, the other areas that relate to the plan, such as your policing resources, your nonprofit organizations that support the plan. But as for your question, there's no money currently flowing directly to the municipality.
May I follow up? Yeah. Is there any benefit in writing a letter to somebody from the government, Lisa Thompson, to ask for money, to say that this is this is being pushed on us by you, but to make this work, we need some resources?
Yeah, through your worship, to Councillor Van Henderson, there's certainly never any harm with sending letters of advocacy for areas of interest for the municipality like that. I would recommend you would send it to the Ministry of the Solicitor General in this case. So that's certainly something you can add to the motion if that's something council wishes to do.
Okay. Any other? Go ahead, Deputy Reeve, please.
Thank you. Through you, Reeve. Do we have any evidence or any paperwork is saying how much each municipality is providing to this safety and well-being plan, to see whether who's giving more than other? Like, I mean, there's no checks and balances here. If two municipalities didn't do any of it, is that load being carried by the other municipalities?
Through your worship, to Deputy Falconer's question, no, it wouldn't necessarily be the case. So you'll remember annually around November or so, the clerk's department, we bring a report on the proposed community safety and well-being budget. And so that includes the costs for how those projects or initiatives for each of the four action items or areas within the plan are going to be pursued in that year, and that cost is split 9 ways. So it wouldn't necessarily it's not like one municipality is getting more than others, or it's not like other municipalities aren't contributing equally. So everyone has a similar budget. Some municipalities have more of a budget because they do additional initiatives beyond the plan themselves. But yeah, that's how it's structured.
Okay. Did you want to bring that, add on to
Would
that
like
motion?
add that on the
I'll
motion.
just
and
leave our clerk one on.
So with Councillor Van Henderson's addition, your motion would be that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby receives the report of the Deputy Clerk Planning Coordinator dated July 21st, 2025 regarding the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan for Huron Review Report, June 2025. And further, that Council hereby approves the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan for Huron Review Report, June 2025, as prepared by the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan for Huron Municipal Working Group in collaboration with the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan Oversight Committee. And further, that council agrees to adopt bylaw number 49, 2025, being a bylaw to adopt a community safety and wellbeing plan for Huron Review Report, June 2025, at the July 21st, 2025 regular council meeting. And further, that council directs staff to send a letter to the Ministry of the Solicitor General requesting funding for the implementation of the community safety and wellbeing plan.
Yes, but can we also send it to the other member municipalities and our MP and MPP, please?
Yep. So I can add that to the motion.
Okay. So would you mover, seconder? Have a seconder? Councillor McBurney, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. At 6.1.2, telephone internet voting service provider for 2026 election. Before we ask questions here, I'll just ask for a mover and a seconder. Deputy Reeves, Councillor Whitfield. Okay, are there any questions for Director Lamb at this about our telephoning voting service provider? They've been with us the last 2 times. Seeing none. All in favor? Carried. 6.1.3, CL 2025-14 Procedure Bylaw Comprehensive Review and Update. First of all, I'll go to any questions for Director Lamb. Seeing none, may I have a mover? Councillor Wright, Councillor Whitfield, all in favor? Carried. 6.1.4, CL 2025-15 Governance Policy, Petition Policy, Accountability and Transparency Policy, Public Notice Policy, and Council Vacancy Policy. Again, are there any questions for Director Lamb at this time? Seeing none, all show in the report that we got from them. And so at this time, I'm asking for a mover. Deputy Reeve, seconder. Councillor Whitfield, all in favor? Carried. Move on to the Finance Department. Amendment to the cemetery fees. First of all, may I have a mover? Councillor Van Henderson, seconder. Seconder, Deputy Reeve. Are there any questions for Director Fletcher at this time? It's just one of those things where I guess we're doing it right beforehand and we're just sort of misled the person that gave us the information down there. So again, thanks for getting that fixed up, Director Fletcher. This time now we're going to move on to, oh yes, mover, sorry. Yeah. All in favor? Carried. 6.3.1 FA 2025-03 Courts Revitalizations RFQ results. So before we ask for a mover and a seconder there, I'm just going to let Director Stice talk about this a little bit, please.
Thank you, Reeve Heffer. To members of council, before you are the RFQ results for the tender that was put out by JPM on behalf of the Township of North Huron. And just a reminder of how we got to this place. The township was successful recipients of the Vance Fund to be able to look at how to revitalize the courts that currently exist at the North Huron Westcast Community Complex into more of a multi-purpose space. And so through our procurement policy, we awarded JPM the design and the architectural and design portion of the project through to the end of construction. And through that process, they oversaw the tender process to award the construction of this project. 2 bidders were received. There were other bidders as well, but they came outside of the timeline for this project. And so the successful bidder and recommendation from both township staff as well as JPM is to Feltz Design Building Limited. There is a minor variance in terms of the amount of money received through the funding grant as well as what was placed in the budget. And we will be able to realize this to cover this variance through current year surplus from other projects or the Recreation Reserve Fund. So it will be covered by the end of the year.
Okay. At this time, are there any questions for Director Stice? Oh, it's pretty well. Oh, go ahead, Councillor Wright, please.
Yeah, just one question. So assuming approval tonight, do we know what the timeline is for the execution of the work and the renovation of the space?
Through you, Reeve Heffer, to Councillor Wright. We understand that if the contract is awarded this evening, they will be able to mobilize on site on August the 4th. They are looking for completion of the work on or before September 26th.
Go ahead.
And then just one follow-up, how is the investigation of the roof leak going? Because last time I was in that space, there was a bucket there, and I'd hate to see water damage on a new space.
Through you, Reeve Heffer, to Councillor Wright. We are currently working through some repairs to the roof. We have it been confirmed that, you know, we do have a good roof on there, being a metal roof, that it just requires some minor repairs over the seaming, and we do have some companies in providing some quotes that will fall within our procurement policy.
Okay. Mover, please. There's no other questions for our director. Councillor Van Hitterson, seconder, Councillor Whitfield. All in favor? Carried. 6.3.2 CS 2025-11 Draft Sponsorships, Advertising and Naming Policy. I just asked Director Stice if she could just talk a little bit about her report. It's quite an extensive report there, and just if she could highlight some of the things on it, please.
Through you, Reeve Heffer, to members of council, before you is a draft sponsorship, advertising and naming policy. And presenting it to you not only because it was recommended through the master plan, but also because it serves as a foundational document that will help us leverage some of the resources within the township so that we can do things like offer sponsorship to various businesses. We regularly get asked by businesses to have sponsored swims or sponsored skates, and this will give us the support and guidance of council to be able to do that. But also we wanted to extend it to any opportunities where there is that exchange of services for value in the township. So it doesn't speak to some of the donations or that we receive. There's already a policy that covers donations, which is just kind of a one-way relationship with the township. We wanted to cover not only sponsorship, but advertising, as well as naming policy. And so things like the naming of buildings or spaces within buildings. There is a recommendation in there for a minimum of 5 years, maximum of 10, just to provide some context and structure to how proposals are presented. Moving forward, all of those proposals would come before council before any decisions are made.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, questions, Deputy Reid, please.
Thank you. Through you, Reeve. Do we know of any expired naming rights? Do we have, I guess, what's the percentage we do of naming rights do we have to fulfill versus the ones that are already still under I wouldn't let's say contract, but under agreement? Do we have any that have expired out of that agreement?
Through you, Reeve Heffer, to Deputy Reeve Faulkner. At this time, I don't have any indication that we have any expired contracts with our naming rights, but I also know that we don't have some contracts for some of the places that we have named. And so as we move through this process, I will be returning to council with some recommendations moving forward, but this document will help to serve as that foundation for me to be able to present things back to council.
Thank you. Any other questions for Director Stice? Seeing none, I know I can talk to about in the theater. It was told when they put their names up, the sponsors, if they gave so much or the other side gave so much, they had X number of years, but it wasn't really put into a policy like you're planning on doing. So kudos to you getting that going there. So we have mover. Oh.
Yeah, sorry, I just thought of something. For the Belgrave Community Center and for the playground and the board there, if there are any naming rights there, do they have to go through the municipal policy or can the arena board decide about that? So say somebody buys the playground and donates a lot of money and they want to put Stice playground on it. Are they allowed to do that, or do they have to go through a council decision or a staff decision?
Through you, Reeve Heffer, to Councillor Van Hittersum. I will look to my colleagues as well to correct me, but it is my understanding that those are township properties. And so we would want to come through council to seek support for that. Anything else to add, Councillor Director Wayne?
Yeah, it may be contingent on the lease agreements. Often there's a provision in there that specifies naming rights. So for example, when the large donation for the Blythe Festival came forward last year, right, there was a provision in there that said council approval was required. So it'd all be based on what's in each lease agreement for naming right provisions.
Thank you. Deputy Reeve, go ahead, please.
Yes, through you, Reeve. Would the naming policy then, would we then have to have something in our fees and charges listing what each of those would be available for, or is that just an open figure?
Director Stice, please.
Through you, Reeve Heffer, to Deputy Reeve Faulkner. We would be putting some information, fees and charges for sponsorships, because those, we can quite define those. For naming rights, we would want to come back. There might be a different process for each naming right. So you might have more of a public consultation or RFQ for a larger building. There might be a number of different processes. So we wouldn't want to put something in fees and charges, but to allow for more of an open process for more engagement. And it would also depend on the size of the building, and certainly come back to council for that direction and support.
Okay, so at this time, yeah, that's quite undertaking you're taking there, which I very much appreciated by council here. So may I have a mover? Deputy Reeve, Councillor Wright, all in favor? Carried. At this time, we're moving on to correspondence requiring action or direction. Seeing none. Council reports. Reeves activity report. A few things going on. I neglected to say at the last meeting there, I had to give regards on behalf of the township at the opening of the I guess it'd be the 50th year at Blythe, and it was real good. They had an opening night, a real good evening there, and again, kudos out to Garrett and Rachel and all the work that they do. The amount of people they bring to the town there and whatnot is just amazing. You go through there in the afternoon, and I could never figure out when I was working, boy, this is busy, and but you see what they draw in. Also, there's a great tournament here organized by Mike Mulvey there, and it brought a lot of people to town. And again, I know that a lot of people had to go quite a distance away for there to find rooms. So again, that goes to what our CAO was talking about. They had to go quite a ways out of town, and it's just you know, when a bunch of people hit town and is a one night thing, like it's two days, and it was very, very busy. Again, the cricket tournament went on yesterday. I got over to see Gapri. Again, he organized it. He just does a wonderful job at that, and it was at Atwood, and they're sure hoping that they're going to be able to bring it back into North Huron in another year maybe. And again, it was really well represented. They had 7 teams there. Another one would come, but they already had the times up. So again, a great success to Gapri, a local gentleman in town here that looks after it. The North Huron pin, but they're all from 11 different countries. There's no one from the rural. They're all in the cities. They're in Israel, France, Italy, Ghana. In fact, the lady girl from Ghana, she had the presentation there and just told of the country, how happy they are. They may not be real rich, but they have a lot of minerals there that people do get very, very rich from. Then we had a 20th, which is always nice seeing a 20-year anniversary for a Ship to Shore. It was a great thing. This happened right down the main street, right across from Town Hall. And again, Yantis opened up her little cafe just across from the post office there. Again, she just wanted to share the opening, that she's a new person in town and she's really fixed up the store there, and she's really hoping for a good success there with it. And Saturday, we had Ride for Dad. There was approximately 130 bikes there. It's for prostate cancer. All the money that's raised there goes to the prostate. And just got to say something about our municipality, and I asked them to make sure our director of public works gets back in time for work on Monday, and definitely he was back. But understand it was a great run, and the people really enjoyed it. But it's nice seeing everybody come to town. And I want to say thank you to the Dean and Angie. They did a lot of work with it. He works for the town here, but it's something they're behind. They're very, very involved with it. But bringing in that number of motorcycles, a lot of kids were having a lot of fun Saturday morning. And then, of course, Brad Hodgson, our new lead hand, he was in charge of the fire truck, and they had their flag as they went up the main street north of town. It was really very impressive to see that. Again, kudos out to the Dean and Angie for that. So that's mine. Would anybody else has anything to council member, board member, any comments or written reports? Go ahead.
Thank you, through you, Reeve. I'd like to give a heartfelt thank you from our council to the Blythe Festival. This past Friday, the July the 18th, was their annual municipal night. It brought forward 24 different municipalities to the theater in one night. It was a great networking experience, and it was kind of a chance to shake North Huron's tail feathers in what we can accomplish in here through the theater and the programs that they put on. It's a feather in our cap for sure, and more of a bit of a tongue-in-cheek play for the municipalities that were there. It was the Sir John A. Acts of a Gentrified Ojibwe Rebellion. So it was a play from the plan, or the opening of Canada through the Ojibwe lens, which was definitely a different take on that we would have thought of, and gave a lot of thought to rethinking that process. But I just want to thank them again for inviting all the municipalities, and that's quite a accomplishment for 24 municipalities when you consider they were there from Parry Sound down to Windsor, and I'm not sure as far how east they were, but for the ones I got to talk to anyway, it was quite a draw. So I want to thank them again. Thank you.
Anybody else? Are there any comments by members? Seeing none. Okay, notice of motion. Any notice of motions at this time? Seeing none. Bylaw number 49, 2025, adoption of community safety and well-being plan for Huron review report, June 2025. May I have a mover? Deputy Reeve, Councillor Van Hitterson, all in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 50, 2025, amendment to fees and charges bylaw, Schedule D, cemetery fees. May I have a mover? Counselor Whitfield, Counselor McBurney, all in favor? Carried. Next meeting's announcement, next regular council meeting, August the 11th at 6 p.m. right here. Next Wingham BIA Board meeting will be held August 21st at 6:30, Hot Stove Lounge, the West Cass Community Complex. And the next Blythe BIA Board meeting will be Thursday, August 28th, 8 a.m., first floor meeting room of the Blythe and District Community Center. Are there any other announcements? Seeing none? Okay, at this time, we'll go to confirmatory bylaw number 51, 2025, confirmatory bylaw. May I have a mover? Counselor Wright, Counselor McBurney, all in favor? Carried. Adjournment that the Council of the Township of North Huron agrees that there being no further business before council, the July 21, 2025 regular council meeting be hereby adjourned at 6:55. May I have a mover? Counselor Van Hitterson, Counselor Whitfield, all in favor? Carried. Thank you very much.